Cold open. Dale Harmon was elbow deep in a clogged gutter when the sky cracked open. Not literally, well, kind of literally. A shimmering blue portal the size of a garage door just unfolded above his neighbor's oak tree, humming like a transformer about to blow. Dale didn't scream. He didn't even drop his gutter scoop. He just squinted at it the way he squinted at check engine lights. A voice, translated and slightly metallic, drifted down. Human, we require a consultant for a Class 9. Hostile environment expedition. Compensation is substantial. Survival odds are variable. Dale wiped grime on his jeans. What's the pay? Enough to purchase a small moon. I just need enough for a new truck. He shrugged, climbed down the ladder and grabbed his thermos. Sure, when do we leave? Warning scene. The recruiter, a nervous, twitchy creature named Fesk with too many joints in his fingers, and met Dale at the portal's edge, clutching a data tablet like a shield. You understand this is not a tourism package, Fesk said. Kestrel 9 has a mortality rate of 94% for trained operatives. 94. We have lost entire platoons of hardened soldiers to its weather patterns alone. Dale sipped his coffee. Sounds like Tuesday. This is not humor-appropriate context. Everything's humor-appropriate context if you're bad enough at your job. Dale slung his toolbox over his shoulder, an actual physical toolbox, wrenches and duct tape and all. Fesk's eye stalks quivered. You bring hand tools to a planet that has killed cyborgs. Yep. Fesk stared a long moment, then sighed through whatever passed for lungs. Don't blame me if you come back in a box. Dale grinned. Wouldn't be the first box I've come back in. Squad introduction. The rest of the team was waiting on the other side, and Dale had to admit, for a suicide mission, they looked the part. First was Arbexthala, and the squad's commanding officer, 7 feet of iridescent armor-plated scale, with a voice like gravel dragged through velvet. She'd survived the hive purge of Corvain Minor, solo, after her entire battalion was wiped out in 11 minutes. She had 4 medals for it and 0 patience for jokes. Next on Cronus, an insectoid ace pilot with a chitinous exoskeleton that could shrug off small arms, fire and compound eyes that tracked in 14 directions at once. He'd flown through the Vex corridor, a stretch of space so dense with debris that autopilot systems simply refused to compute it, and done it manually, twice sober. Then Umarel, amphibious, luminous, and unreasonably calm. Her skin shifted color with her mood, which made her terrifying in negotiations, because nobody could tell if she was bluffing. She'd decoded 3 extinct alien languages before her 40th cycle and was, by galactic record, the single greatest xenolinguist alive. And finally, Tartre, the muscle, a mountain of gray musculature standing 9 feet tall, capable of bench-pressing a hovercar. He'd once held a collapsing mine shaft, sealing up with his bare shoulders, for 6 hours so a mining crew could escape. He didn't talk much. He didn't need to. Then there was Dale, average height, slight gut, a faded flannel shirt and a toolbox with a sticker on it that said, World's okayest dad, a gag gift from his kid. Vexathala looked him up and down, unimpressed. This is the human consultant. That's me. What is your elite credential? Dale thought about it. I fixed a water heater once while it was on fire. Nobody said anything for a solid 5 seconds. We are going to die, Fesk whispered. Comedy escalation loop. Vexthala pulled up a holographic display. Kestrel 9 experiences atmospheric acid precipitation. Single exposed rainstorm can strip organic tissue to bone in under 90 seconds. Dale nodded slowly. So humidity, but Florida. Coronis blinked all 14 eyes at once. That is not a comparison I understand. You'll understand it when you visit Florida. The planet's gravitational field fluctuates without warning. Umarel added, her skin flickering yellow with concern. Spikes have been recorded at 4 times standard. Bones shatter. Organs rupture. Dale scratched his chin. Sounds like riding in the bed of my uncle's truck on Route 9. Man doesn't believe in shocks. Threx's massive brow furrowed. You survived this? Repeatedly. Every Thanksgiving. There is a native fungal bloom, Vexathala continued, voice tightening, that releases spores capable of dissolving lung tissue within 1 exposure. Ah, Dale nodded like this was familiar. That's basically my basement after the flood in Oh, 9. Wife made me handle it myself. 'Cause the mold. Guy quoted $800. Fesk made a strangled noise. You handled a lung-dissolving biohazard for a cost-saving reason? $400 is $400, Fesk. There are apex predators, Cronus said, flipping to a terrifying image of something with 6 rows of teeth and no visible eyes. Silent hunters. They track heat signatures and strike without warning. Elite squads have been eliminated in seconds. Dale studied the image with genuine curiosity. Huh, looks like my neighbor's dog when the mailman comes. This creature has killed war heroes. So has my neighbor's dog, give it time. Vexthala's patience was visibly cracking now. The planet's core generates unpredictable, electromagnetic pulses capable of disabling shielded warships from orbit. Dale shrugged. Basically, my house's Wi-Fi router goes out every time it rains. This is not comparable, Vexathala snapped. And for the first time, her composure slipped entirely. Dale just sipped his coffee. You'd be surprised. Arrival and world reveal. The portal spat them out onto a landscape that looked like Earth's worst nightmare had been left to simmer for a few million years. The sky churned a sickly green-violet streaked with clouds that hissed audibly. The ground beneath their boots was cracked obsidian glass, still radiating heat from some geological insult. In the distance, jagged spires of black rock clawed upward, wreathed in a haze that shimmered like heat off a summer highway, except this haze corroded metal on contact. Within 30 seconds, Cronus's exosuit display flickered red, warning of hull degradation. Threx's armor plating hissed and steamed where atmospheric particulates ate into the coating. Umarel's biosuit inflated defensively, bloating her silhouette like a startled pufferfish. Even Vexathala, decorated war hero, was recalibrating her shielding, every few seconds just to keep her scales from blistering. Dale stood in the middle of it all in his flannel shirt, toolbox in hand, squinting up at the sky. Smells like a swimming pool that hasn't been drained since June. Fesk, sweating through 6 separate biological processes, stared at him. Your readings, human, your suit readings are nominal. How? Dale checked the cheap plastic multi-tool watch on his wrist, the one his daughter got him at a gas station. I don't have a suit. Silence. You are not wearing environmental protection, Vexathala said slowly, like she was double-checking her own sanity. Didn't think I'd need it. Feels like August in Houston. Dale wiped sweat from his brow, mildly inconvenienced. Bit humid, though. Threx, whose armor was now audibly groaning under corrosive stress, turned his massive head toward the unarmored, unbothered, human standing calmly in the middle of a planet that ate steel for breakfast. Nobody said anything, but something in the air shifted. The first cracked seed of a realization none of them were ready to admit yet. The acid storm. The first storm rolled in exactly as predicted. Sheets of corrosive rain hammering the camp. The squad scrambled into a reinforced shelter, sealing every gap, running emergency protocols that took 11 minutes and drained half their portable power cells. Dale, who'd wandered out to grab a dropped wrench, just popped open a Gulf umbrella he'd brought in case it rained on the trip. He strolled back in, mildly damp, and set the wrench down. Umbrella held up fine. Little pitting on the frame, but it's a $2 model, so fair trade. Vexathala stared at the umbrella like it had personally offended her entire species. Engineering department. The gravity storm. The ground began to hum, then buckle, as a gravitational spike rolled through the camp like an invisible wave. Cronus and Threx were slammed to the ground, pinned under quadrupled body weight, gasping through reinforced joints. Dale simply crouched low, knees bent, like he was bracing against a strong gust on a fishing boat. Yep, there it is, he muttered, riding it out with his weight shifted, same way he'd handled every choppy lake crossing since he was 12. When it passed, he helped Cronus up. The insectoid pilot, a decorated ace who'd flown through debris fields that broke lesser pilots, just stared at him. You did not even fall. Bad knees taught me good balance. The fungal bloom. The spore cloud hit without warning. A rolling green mist that sent the squad into full biohazard lockdown. Sealed suits, filtered rebreathers, decontamination protocols burning through their remaining medical supplies. Dale just tied a bandana over his nose and mouth, the same one he used mowing his lawn in pollen season, and kept walking. Umarel's log entry recorded that night read, Day 7. The human exhibits no biological response to spores that liquefy standard organic tissue. He described the smell as like grandma's attic. I am beginning to question the completeness of our threat, assessments, or the completeness of our understanding of this species. The apex predator. It came at dusk, silent as promised. Heat tracking through the rocks toward the camp's perimeter. Full combat protocol triggered. Threx armed with a plasma cannon. Vexthala coordinating defensive formations. Cronus running overhead scans. Dale wandered toward the tree line with a flashlight and a rolled-up newspaper. He'd apparently packed out of habit. "What are you doing?" Fesk hissed, terrified. "Same thing I do with raccoons back home." Smacked the newspaper against a rock, loud and sharp. The creature froze, shrieked, and bolted into the dark. Silence settled over the camp. Threx slowly lowered the plasma cannon. "It fled," Vexithala said, disbelief cracking her voice for the first time in the mission. "A creature that has killed decorated soldiers and are fled from a piece of paper." Dale shrugged, rolling the newspaper back up. "Loud noises spook most things bigger than they are brave. Works on raccoons, works on my brother-in-law." Status flip. Something had quietly changed. Nobody had voted on it. Nobody had announced it. But when the ground started to tremble with a new, unfamiliar rhythm, Vexthala's first move wasn't to check her scanners. It was to look at Dale. "Thoughts, consultant?" Dale crouched, pressed a palm to the glassy ground, and frowned. The same frown he wore diagnosing a rattling engine. "Not weather. Something's moving, big." Threx, unprompted, moved to flank him instead of shielding him. Cronus recalibrated the scanners to Dale's read, not the other way around. Umarel's skin shifted a thoughtful blue. "We assumed weakness because you carried no weapon, wore no armor, showed no fear. We were measuring you by our metrics." Dale straightened, dusting off his knees. "Different tools for different jobs. Don't need a hazmat suit for what I've already survived." Vexthala almost smiled, almost. Cliffhanger close. That's when the horizon lit up. Not with lightning. Not with another storm. With movement, hundreds of heat signatures, converging from every direction at once. Too coordinated to be animal, too fast to be geological. Cronus's scanner display flooded red. "That is not a predator pattern. That is a hunting formation." Fesk's voice cracked over comms. "Kestrel 9 does not have pack hunters. There is no recorded species capable of that coordination." Vexithala rose slowly, hand on her weapon, eyes fixed on the churning dark horizon. "Then what exactly is coming for us?" Dale set down his coffee thermos, slowly, carefully, and then picked up his toolbox instead. "Well," he said, squinting at the approaching lights, "guess we're about to find out." The camp went dark. Something screamed in the distance, a sound none of the translators could even process.